Citizens of the universe, it is time for Neutral Lens Podcast episode 11. Another week is in the rearview mirror, and we have some more topics to discuss, so let's get into it. Before I begin, if you guys have any questions you want answered, topics you want discussed, at Neutral Lens Pod on all socials, I'll get to in a future episode. Topic number 1. Is there a way I can make everyone happy? No, there's not. People always find a reason to be unhappy about something. This is especially when applying to when people say, oh, I just want to make everyone happy. I don't want anyone to hate me. And especially for celebrities and things like that, people in the spotlight, you're not going to make everyone happy. I mean, there's always going to be people who just dislike you for no reason. Maybe they're envious of your success. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe, there's just certain things about you that they just don't like, whether that's has merit or not, if you're like a mean person, people will dislike you because you're mean. But if you're a nice person, people will dislike you because they think you're being fake or you're too nice or that you're boring because of it. So they're always I think people are always going to find some sort of reason to justify disliking you or to not be happy with you or decisions that you're making. If you make a certain decision, I just want to make people happy, someone's always going to be upset. They're always going to say, oh, why are you doing this? I don't like this, or you make a change to, let's just say you're, a YouTuber and you make a kind of change to your intro. Some people will be like, oh, I like the old intro better. You're never going to make everyone happy, even with the people you agree with the most, you're never going to see eye to eye with them on every single issue. And it's honestly a waste of time and energy to try and do so. At the end of the day, you have to make the decisions that are best for you and that you think are best, if that makes sense. So that means that, you don't want to spend all your time trying to make the decision that you think will please everybody, because you're not going to please everyone. So, do what pleases most people and what works for you. You really just want to pick the option that makes the most sense, whatever that ends up being. And again, for celebrities mainly, because I think for most people it's not too big of an issue. You don't have so many people that care about what you're doing, which is nice in its own way, right? You can do whatever you want. But for celebrities, just making sure that the majority of your fans, people who like you, are satisfied, that's good enough. You're never going to win over the trolls. There's no point in trying, Some of them will convert. Some of them who like you will start to hate you. It happens. It's always going to happen. So I don't think it's worth it to try and think about those things. I don't think it's worth it to try and make everybody like you, to make everybody happy, because it's just not going to happen. Everyone who's listening, you absolutely hate somebody out there for no particular reason at all. Everyone does it, it's just part of life. I think you're not gonna make everyone happy. So, and the other thing about that is you get into a mindset of you want to pander to the 3 people who are always calling you out on things, rather than the 97% who are silent but they enjoy what you're doing and they have no problem with it. So continue to do that. Obviously it's if they're offering legitimate criticisms, then there are some things that you can look at and maybe change and maybe improve. But if you're just trying to make everyone happy, oh, I want to do this, but this person said to do this too, and it's you got to pick an avenue. So yeah, but aside from that, going into more compromises, debates, disagreements kind of things, yeah, there are usually ways to make everyone happier. I don't think there's ever, no compromise is making everyone 100% happy, unless what they wanted in the first place was to get you to compromise. But assuming that one person really adamantly wants one thing, one person adamantly wants something else, and you kind of want to satisfy both parties, you're never going to make them both 100% happy. It's just not going to happen. You have to compromise. You have to sacrifice something, especially when there's these big disagreements. And you want to find a way to make it tolerable, to make it enough to where both parties are willing to go forward with it and try and find that middle ground. But it's really not going to be perfect for both sides. It's just going to be good enough. And honestly, that is good enough a lot of the times, because you're not going to get a perfect agreement, especially when neither side, they have significantly different viewpoints. You're not gonna get anywhere. So yeah. All right. Let's go to topic number 2. So this isn't about anything in particular. It's sort of just a general question. It's like, when do I know when it's time to move on? And this is especially for relationships, but just in general. So first things first, I think it's really incredibly hard to know for yourself that answer when like you are the one in that relationship, because it's really easy for me to be an objective third party and say, yeah, you clearly need to move on. But when you're the one who's actually in it, you tend to hold out hope for far too long, and it's natural. Everyone does it. Like you're sort of blinded by being the one in the relationship. You're the one with the investment in that relationship, and it's really hard to walk away from it. And you don't want to, and you want to have hope that it's going to turn around. So when it's your decision to make, it can be incredibly hard to pull that trigger. But I would say just trust your instincts. Like, the biggest and easiest way to tell is simply, do you feel any sort of unhappiness when thinking about them? So like, if you're going to hang out with your boyfriend or girlfriend later in the day, or is it something that you're really excited and looking forward to? Or is it something you're just kind of doing at this point? Or maybe something that you kind of don't want to do today. And if that, it's going to happen at some point. Like, I feel like in every relationship, there are points where just you get a little tired of each other. But if that's a more consistent pattern and it's not like a 1 day, 2 day thing, then you have to start thinking about maybe I've fallen out of love with this person. If you're just doing something for the sake of doing it, it's a good sign of like burnout. It's a good sign that you need space from whatever it is. And a good I think comparison is, if you're eating your favorite food. Like, if you eat your favorite food every single day, you're going to get tired of your favorite food at some point, and then you're not going to want to eat it, but you're still just going to eat it because like it's all you have. Maybe you bought a bunch of it, right? So I think the same thing kind of happens in relationships, where sometimes you just need a bit of a break from each other. And like, that's okay. I don't think every relationship is a thing where you want to spend every second for the rest of your lives together and you're going to enjoy every second of it. Like, stuff's going to happen. You're going to get in fights. Maybe things change and maybe you're not really interested in spending too much time with each other. You have some other interests that start to develop, and it just takes your time away. There's a lot of things that can happen, I think. And that's okay, like how to recover from that and how to rebuild that sort of love and romance is a whole different conversation. It can definitely be done, and of course there are perfect relationships where they're always just happy. But yeah, it could be a bad sign. It could be a bad sign that you don't really want to spend some time with this person at the moment. And if it's like a consistent thing, then it's really something you got to think about. It's really the best general indicator. Like, there are some specifics, but it depends on the person. It depends on the relationship. But this is about as good as you can get when it comes to general things to look out for. It's really just trust your instincts and don't be afraid to admit to yourself, hey, maybe something is going on. And I would talk about it before you do anything. I really would. If you've already talked about it, this is something that's kind of been going on for a while, you've already had conversations, tried to do something about it, then I think that's a pretty clear sign it's time to move on. But yeah, like, if you get in a big fight and there's just no recovering, things just aren't the same, you don't really enjoy spending time with that person anymore, then that's a good indicator that it is time to move on. So never go through the motions in a relationship. Never. I think that is so unhealthy. But yeah, like, don't be afraid to make a decision on it. If you know it won't work and it's just like you've tried things and it's not getting better, then it's a waste of time to keep trying, I think. So yeah. It just comes down to listening to yourself and knowing, when you start to feel like things aren't going as, they used to or you want them to. Again, not one instance, but multiple. One instance happens. That's totally fine. All right. Last topic is, how do I stand out from the crowd? Honestly, most people can't, or at least not in most areas. You know, like everyone is unique and everyone has their own ways in which they can stand out and be like really interesting. But let's just say basketball. Most people aren't skilled enough in basketball to really be able to be unique and to bring a lot to the table. But, that doesn't mean that all these people aren't standout-ish or unique in their own ways. Like some of them, maybe they're good at baseball. Maybe some of them, they're good at engineering. You never know. But yeah, it's really, I think, just you can't stand out in all areas. You really can't. But it's also the fact that a lot of people, I feel like, are trying to be things that they aren't. And maybe it's like they see someone else and they want to be like someone else because they think that's a cool thing to do. And I think I said this in the previous episode, right? Like, if you're trying to be like everyone else, you're going to spend your life chasing shadows. And it's true. Like, what works for somebody else isn't always going to work for you. And I think that, honestly, if you're just looking to stand out in terms of personality, like if you're making content, if you're doing other things, passion and being genuine to you are the biggest things that will make you stand out. Because again, if you're not being true to yourself, you're trying to copy somebody else. You're trying to do something that's not you. It doesn't sound genuine. It doesn't sound real. And the uniqueness of people is the fact that everyone is different. So why not be yourself? Why not do the things that you want to do and say the things that you want to say? Obviously, like some things are socially just inherently bad, and maybe don't say some crazy stuff, but like pursuing your own interests and doing the things that make you different from everyone else and doing the things that you want to do rather than the things that you think other people want to hear or that other people want to see you do. That's not what makes you interesting. What makes you interesting is your individuality. And, being unique in that way, I think, is the biggest step to take to standing out. Like I think there's a lot of videos, books out there about how to really stand out from everyone else. And there are obviously techniques like, you got to say these certain things to make your perception different. You got to do these different things, like psychologically it plays tricks and whatnot. I mean, there's a ton of different techniques, right? To make yourself seem different. But again, that is not genuine to you. And you can stand out that way when like applying for jobs or whatever, but it doesn't make you interesting. And I think that the longest lasting form of being unique and of being interesting is to simply be yourself. Like, some people are just boring. Some people are very basic. That is true. But, everyone is different in their own way. And some people are just boring in their own way. And that in itself can be interesting, So like there's a lot of different ways to it, but it comes down to being genuine and true to yourself and speaking from the heart, I think. And also passion. Like, if you're not, again, going back to the content creator thing, if you're not passionate about making content, like if you're like a filmmaker or if you're a musician, if you don't have that passion for the things that you're doing, it's going to come across as such. It's going to be basic. It's kind of going to be like almost scientific, because I think that your creativity is bolstered by how much you enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, your brain is kind of just working to figure out how to do it in the laziest or quickest way possible, or whatever. But if you're actually invested, there's so much more that you can add. There's so many little things that just give it that feeling of like you put in a lot of time and effort. And the more time that you spend kind of doing that, you tap into your own individual styles. And that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it interesting, rather than just trying to make it something, that you think everyone's going to enjoy. Because, again, what people enjoy is you, not you trying to copy someone else. So just keep that in mind, just keep that in mind. All right, I think that'll do it for episode 11. So thank you guys for listening. As always, I will see you next week.